Get this in frame. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing good. Is my audio good? Can you guys hear me? Let me know. Trying to see what comments are coming through. So anyone that can help me, let me know if you can hear me. That would be great. So then I'm not wasting your time. All right. Okay. Well, I believe I should just go ahead and get started. Let me put in the chat. Live chat. Snap. Okay. Let's see. Okay, now the comments are coming in. Okay, cool. Whew, how you guys doing? Hold on. Let me get something real quick. I just want to see how this looks. I'm not going to use them, but I just want to see how they look. All right. Okay. Ready? Let's see. Okay. Not too much of a glare. Not too much. Let me see. All right. Let me see. Oh, all right. I just got back from, well, shouldn't say just got back. So a quick story about why I need these glasses is that probably since I was 12, 13 years old, I started noticing that I had a lot of headaches going on. And then next thing you know, I needed to get my eyes checked. Therefore, they said, oh, yeah, you need glasses. I did not want to get glasses as a teenager. You know, kids where I grew up were very, very, man, we would talk trash about everybody. Anything you had going on, we just talk smack. So I was like, okay, I just don't want to hear it. But I did like this thing called patching, where you actually put a patch over the good eye, so you have to see out the other one, and then you put the glasses on, and then you do that, multiple times a day. Needless to say, I was only doing it for a little bit. I just got tired of it, and then as I got older, I started noticing that I was experiencing father time, and yeah, most recently I was going to the Department of Motor Vehicles so then I can get a new driver's license, and they made me do an actual eye exam. Well, needless to say, I was very, very embarrassed because out of this eye, I could see anything. It was like literally like beyond, I could see every line. It was just crazy. On this one, oh man, it was horrendous. They made me go to 3 different machines just to make sure that it wasn't like off. So I'm over here in the DMV sweating like, oh my gosh, like this is just it was quite embarrassing because I was like, man, if I can't see, they're not gonna give me a freaking new license. Even though I can see great out of this one and out of both, I can obviously see. So I thought, well, I'm gonna have to bite the bullet and then go get my eyes checked. Lo and behold, I was greeted by the optometrist, and she was actually a fan, so it was dope. She made it very, very easy, and it usually takes about 2 weeks for me to get these prescription glasses, but they said 7 to 10 business days, so that's like 2 weeks. It came back in 3 days, so I was very excited, and I'm very thankful that I can actually start driving with them. I'll probably drive with them more than just hanging around the house, or if I'm reading a lot, because I spend a lot of time reading in books and obviously online. So definitely don't need any eye strain, but I know one thing's gonna make me better by having better vision is I'm going to be able to judge physiques even better. But most importantly, I'm going to be able to play Call of Duty like a champ now. So anyway, let's get into some of these questions. I see them pouring in from all over the world. I want to thank you all for joining me on a Saturday. It is 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So wherever you are, if you're overseas, I'm sure it's probably evening. Thank you. And for those people that are on the West Coast, man, you guys got up early, and I definitely want to say thank you for that. Let's get into some of these questions. So Um, People want to go right into it. Are you competing or commentating? Well, you're going to have to just hang in there. I've been approached, obviously, for both opportunities. Um, for the most part, I have no general interest at this given time to compete. However, you know last week how I said I don't check my weight. So I was getting a lot of people in my DM saying, "Hey man, like it would be cool like if you found out how much you weigh just so you could see." So this week I went on the scale and I was 262 pounds. I actually thought I was 250. I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm in the 250s, like 250, 255 range." I was like 262 pounds. And I thought, man, oh man, you start getting that itch. You start getting that itch because uh, technically speaking, I'm not doing a Mr. Olympia cycle of any kind. I'm not even like necessarily trying. So I'm just on a wellness package, and I've been growing. So that's a good thing. I definitely want to. I think 260 is a good weight for me. Just to do my thing and look the part, but at the same time, it's not as much wear and tear on my joints and stuff like that. Because normally I can get up to 280 pounds, and that was very uncomfortable. But as far as commentating is concerned, I'm definitely interested in that, and it's also because of the fact that you guys have, chimed in and let me know that you would like to see that, and for the most part, I'm just very happy to be able to uh, not necessarily judge the physiques, but more edifying them. Because those men and women, I mean, they're badasses, man, and they deserve a lot of credit. But I would say, some champion level critique, because a lot of the times they get criticized by people who haven't done it, and I think it would be more advantageous for them to hear it from someone who has been on the same stage as them in a specific era as them. So, I definitely look forward to chatting more with Dan Solomon from the Olympia. We had dinner this past week, and last Monday actually. And who knows? I think the future is, definitely very bright. And I shout out all of you guys who believe in my abilities in doing both commentating and obviously competing. Let's go through some others. How many years required for winning pro card in bodybuilding? Actually, there's no specific years required. So I think maybe what you mean is like, is there an age requirement? Like as far as like do you have to be 18 years old or up? I believe so. I believe you have to be over 18 years old to become a pro in this sport. I think the last thing we would want is some 16-year-old girl doing bikini. It's a little weird. Um, Desktop bodybuilding. What's up, Phil? I got great feedback about these videos after I reacted to your last YouTube live. Oh, that's very cool. So, that's what this is about. It's like I present, delivers a rippling effect throughout the industry. You guys can do reaction videos. I know that's a big thing that a lot of platforms are doing, a lot of creators are doing right now. So, I'm glad I can help, whether it be good, bad, or ugly. What people have to say. I think it's a great consensus of the fact that people just want to see me and be able to have this interaction. So, all the best to your channel, and hopefully I get some of your viewers over here as well, so they can ask more questions from me, instead of having to always search for someone else's third person view. So we got a lot of people from India. Shout out to India. As you guys know, I competed at the 2011, 2012 Shrew Classic. Been to India 5 times, and look forward to getting back there soon. I'm trying to get a deal done where I can do some training camps and some seminars. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. And I didn't know you were from Perth, Desktop. Nice. Have I been to Perth yet? Yes. That's far west, right? So yeah, I was there once, man, and had a really good time. One of the things I will say is that you guys have some amazing beaches, and being able to see the sunset, sunrise differently over there as opposed to America is something that I tell all my friends that they need to witness at least once in their life. One guy said, "What did you talk about with the Olympia owner?" I talked about a lot of things, and I'll just get right into it. One of the things that I talked about was why I created a sense of unattainium with regards to me being not so available at a lot of competitions, to work. And that was primarily because I was focusing on other endeavors, and it was nothing against the industry itself. But, we had to go through different conversations just to get some clarity as to, what the current perception was from people higher up in the industry, judges, promoters, etc. They were just trying to check the temperature, just try to understand like where I was coming from. Number two, the athletes. I have some really good ideas as to how the athletes not only can get paid better, but more, and also how they can preserve their health at the same time, and just some ideas, because at the end of the day, I definitely feel that both men and women, they've collectively needed someone like myself to speak up for them and speak up for their health and wellness. I think that there should be, a lot of different avenues for them, inside and outside of the sport, figuring out different partnerships with companies that have nothing to do with bodybuilding but have a decent interest. And, also, how can I be of a service to those athletes by making sure that their health is actually taken with a greater priority, because the last thing we want is more death or more sickness in our sport, because it always gives a black eye to PDs and stuff like that. So, a lot of those things, because, a lot of people may think, oh, he's just talking about himself, with Dan Solomon. It's like, no, like it's more, it's more about how I can make the sport look better. It's always been about that, and how to create that synergy. And I think that's sometimes you can't just do that over the phone and text or even Zoom. You kind of have to just have a real sit down and kind of mull over various topics and how you can help. So that's really what we talked about. And then we talked about the normal stuff, family, stuff like that. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna scroll back up and see, because we got a lot of questions, which is dope. Shout out to all my Brazilian fans. I just saw you guys come in here. Ba, 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 ba. Let's go ahead and I hope you're okay. What do you think about having a girlfriend in bodybuilding? Will it affect your bodybuilding career? uh, I think actually having a girlfriend in bodybuilding is actually dope, because I mean, who doesn't want to have someone to love? Um, it'll only affect your career negatively if you don't know how to communicate, and if that person doesn't know how to receive what you're saying. And there has to be some give and take, right? Like, you can't always talk about competing. And you also have to recognize what their needs, wants, and wishes are. So if you only talk about yourself non-freaking stop, you start to see this with a lot of competitors, both male and female. We're slightly narcissistic. I mean, we're very selfish individuals, because we kind of have to be. Like, no one's going to eat for us, no one can train for us, no one can do the cardio for us in order for us to look good. So, finding a perfect partner in that, the word partner has to exist. You can't just say this is a slave. There's a difference between the two. So it's all about communication. Obviously, you got to have some type of passion, to make the fire in the relationship exist. But I think it's really about what you need, what you want, and what you wish for, and sitting together and being receptive. Even like, as me, as a male, having Sheree in my life, like, if I don't listen to what she wants or what she needs or what she wishes for, then I shouldn't be in a relationship. And if I'm not capable of providing those things, then I should probably let her go. So those are those things also that, I think Sheree and I, we talk about this quite a bit, that her and I should probably do. It's not like we're therapists, but we should probably get on live together or do videos and upload them talking about these certain topics that I definitely believe are prevalent within our industry, because the last thing you want to do is do this sport and then ruin someone else's life because of the great support that they give you. my wife is running a 5K and I'm waiting for, and this pops up, much needed. Hey, John, much love to you, brother. Um, hopefully wifey is doing well, kicking some butt, running that 5K. I'm sure she'll be doing it in no time. She can run extra for me too, because there's no way I'm running 5K. No way. I would love to be able to do it one day, but not today. One guy says prime Ronnie Coleman versus prime Dorian Gates. Prime Ronnie all day. That's I don't think I really need to go into elaboration over that. What do you think of taking all day carbs from oats? Well, you're going to get a ton of freaking fiber and you may get blockage. So as much as you may think that may make you help go to the bathroom or something like that, it may work against you. In addition to that, are you doing oats probably just because that's an easy carb source for you, or you just love it so much? One guy says, Juan Carlos Martinez Murillo says, how years old? So basically, how old am I? I am 42 years old. I don't feel it sometimes, but I don't feel like I look it either. Thank goodness. One guy says, Flower says, I gained 30 pounds after the Army. Thank you for your service, sir. I didn't train for 6 months. I was having depression or something. Now I am getting back in shape. Can you recommend your favorite online coach who would help me? Online coach? None. Maybe me. That'll be coming soon. But honestly, I don't know each person, what they entail. But what I can say, the reason why I even said myself, is the fact that I think there's a level of service that people have to provide to their clients. And one of the things most importantly is they got to have energy, and they have to have the ability to listen, but to also ask you the right questions. They can't just ask you questions over and over and over again. They have to ask you the right questions so then you can actually figure out why you're in the state of depression. And then they can understand that because they have to listen. And then they have to figure out, okay, well, I'm probably not a psychotherapist, so I'm gonna have to admit this. And maybe I can direct him or her to a specialist or something like that. Or just figure out what limiting beliefs you have and figure those things out. And together, working it together, not necessarily him or her holding your hand through it, but you walking it together, then you can figure out a real game plan. Because you may say, hey, I want to lose 30 pounds, but then really in all actuality, you only really want to do 5 and then go. That would be maybe the end goal of 30, but maybe let's talk about these small victories, get 5, work it out in phases. And here I am giving you coaching right now. So these are the things that I even think about, how I could be of service. And I think if any coach is listening, if you're not of service to your clients, you have no business doing this. And you have to come from a top level. If you only competed so high as far as like a NPC national, I don't know, unless if you have, unless if you looked really good, unless if you've been able to do this for quite some time. I personally believe that, you owe it to your clients to recognize that you don't have the experience that you proclaim online. So buyer beware, everybody, when you're going after these online coaches. I'm not here to throw shade, but I'm here to tell you this. A lot of them derived their information from guys like myself who have won this. But most importantly, the coaches only be as good as what he or she can do at any given moment when you need it most. So buyer beware, do your research, ask them every freaking question known to man. And if they're not accessible to you, then you probably are either A, not paying for it, or B, paying too much and they're just not giving you the attention you deserve. One guy says, reporting live. What is some unknown and unthought of tips or advice for someone who actually has potential to be a legit age pro coming up on the journey to turn pro? I'm assuming you're from a different country and you're using Google Translate because this grammar is pretty terrible, bro. Sorry. Potential is based on what someone believes. It doesn't revolve around your actual results. So I truly believe that it definitely starts with a good belief system, but then it has to revolve around strategy and your protocols that you actually establish. And then you can see if those provide any proof that they worked. So your proof is always going to be in your performance. So I don't like usually the word potential, because I've heard this a many times. This guy has the potential of being a Mr. Olympia, never does it. This guy has the potential of being, Arnold Classic champion, never does it. This person has the potential chance, potential chance, potential chance. There was a coach by the name of Mike Ditka, and he coached for the Chicago Bears. And he used to say, let me make sure I get this right. He said, potential is a word for people who haven't done shit yet. So I think that's my advice to you, is to make sure that when you look at those things of potential, focus more on the progress. And then that would meet the potential, or should I say the belief you have or someone has of you, to go get after it. Because we can dream all we want, but if we just live in a dream world where, yeah, I dream of being a billionaire, but if I don't do the work to become that, I'm just talking about potential. Oh, he had the potential. And it actually creates a lot of unnecessary stress, because you're not doing the work to get to be a top amateur. How about being the best amateur? Let's set these different goals, right? And then once we set multiple goals, they all equate to the biggest goal, which is to reach my ultimate potential. But here's the funny thing. If like in math, they say to the nth degree, do n+1. Do n+1. Because sometimes you'll get to that goal and then you realize, man, I actually had more in the tank. So you might surprise yourself. So, I think it's definitely, less talk, more action, but set those mini goals that all equate into something masterful. And it won't come easy. It comes with a lot of stress, a lot of sacrifice. Good luck. How much for the shirt you worked out in with the autograph hanging in my church would help the youth learn? You know what, Jess? I'm going to put up some new merch here very, very soon, where you can purchase those things, and then obviously leave in the comment section of how I can be of service to you and sign that. But also, autograph posters, 8x10s, etc. So you can always DM me for specific items that you have seen previously. Although they're not on my website, I still have some stuff left over, whether it be a hat or 8x10. So you can always DM me, or even DM my lovely bride, Cherie, and we'll try to set you up, especially for the church. All right. Is there any possibility to collab with Seth Feroci? It would make a wonderful video for the fans. Yeah, I know Seth, man. You guys know I know Seth, right? I know Seth he and I, well, he used to work with Hani way back in the day. So the answer is yes. I mean, as long as the alignment is there, as long as there's some great scheduling, because we don't live in I think he still lives in, is it Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania? So anything is possible. I just think it all comes down to scheduling and just trying to make that work. So shout out to Seth, man, the ferocious one. Hi, Phil. What exercise did you find grew your outer sweep in the most? What was the rep range or intensity technique that you found created most pumping those muscles? Dane, if you watch any of my videos, you'd probably be able to figure that out, but I'm going to do it very quickly for you. Outer sweep for me has always been on hacks. I always love hack squats, whether it be on a short hack or even seated leg press. More feet closer within the shoulders has always been good for me, as opposed to just focusing on barbell squats. It's funny, I can hear my dogs downstairs. They're pissed. They're like, we want to be on YouTube live as well, but they can't because they're locked up. But I give them big bones to eat, so they must have ate those really quick. Was it ever hard for you to work with others in opening up a team, being that bodybuilding is the sole focus? Not so much. I mean, when it says work hard with others, I definitely feel like you have to leave your ego at the door. You also have to be of service. You have to also figure out what those what your so-called teammates' strengths and weaknesses are, and also add to the fact that are you the leader or are you the follower? You'll know right away. But then how do you create a team as well? Did you seek these people out, or did they seek you out and then you become a major conglomerate of people? I think those individuals that you decide to do business with, or work with bodybuilding or what have you, need to all share a common goal, and that's to become the greatest versions of self. But sometimes it doesn't take the best players to make the best team, so you have to figure all these different things out, just their psyche. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. It's kind of like a relationship. So yeah, team building is definitely not something that's easy, but is definitely obviously very beneficial for growth, because you might learn something from one of those individuals who you may have underestimated as well. I'm getting a lot of the same questions, so some people are spamming me pretty hard. What training split did I have for 2011 Olympia? Man, I would literally have to go through my log. I have a log of everything I've done. Everything. And yeah, I'd have to go through another computer to go figure that out. You guys are funny. This is what Raymond 112 kilograms versus Phil 112 kilograms. Guys, stop that. Stop it. Stop trying to compare. You can't, no disrespect to anyone, but let's just call it what it is. Are you really trying to compare someone else to this? Like, just end it. End it right now. Just knock it off. I'd rather talk about how someone else is doing well and things like that. You don't have to compare yourselves to me. Compare yourselves to yourself. Go get your titles. Go get your legacy. And obviously, your legacy plus against someone else's legacy is what the ultimate goal is. Would you ever go on Brian Shaw's podcast if he reaches out? I saw a video of you two eating in a restaurant a few years ago. That video was like 12 years ago or 10 years ago. But yeah, as far as podcasts, I usually limit myself from that just because I want to make sure that I find myself. Let me turn this a little bit. Having like the right topics. I think a lot of the time people just go on people's podcasts just because they have one. But Shaw's a great dude. He's a great guy, family man, world champ. I think that can happen. I see this same question. Hey, champ, do you know Mr. Chol Lee from South Korea? He is a heavyweight bodybuilder and Olympian. I've never seen him at the Mr. Olympia, so he's not an Olympian. But and he's definitely not in the Olympics. I think you're talking about that Chol Sun guy from over there. Yeah, I've seen the videos and stuff. I think he competes in different federation. I would love to see him compete in the IFBB and see how he stacks up against some of the other pros in there. How big were your arms when you were natural? 20 inches. When is Gifted Athletics Gear being restocked? It is very, very soon. Just hang in there, and yeah, you won't be disappointed. What do you think of Lee Priest? Definitely. Well, I wouldn't say that's a complicated question. I think that's more, how do I answer it? Do I answer it as the bodybuilder, the person, who? I think as the bodybuilder, I think he was pretty good. Obviously for his height, he was very good. If there would have been 200, like a 212 category back then, he would have been a problem. He would have definitely been a problem. I think what happened for him, and this is just me speaking from afar, like I don't know him personally, is that when he was going against some of the bigger dudes, obviously, he had to make some decisions as far as like, does he want to focus on conditioning or a combination of just fullness and this and that? So, I mean, I've never seen someone be I think he was like 200 pounds, actually compete against the open and I think he was top 5 one year, top 6. But I mean, amazing forearms, arms. I think the issue for him was that it was just so compact that, it's kind of hard Like if he would have been wider or taller, I mean, with those same proportions, maybe, or I shouldn't say proportions, but maybe like if he was a little, like, I don't know. It's like, it's very, very hard to describe. He wasn't the same size as like a Sean Ray, for instance. Like I think they weren't the same height, but maybe if he was as tall as Sean, he would have been freaking dangerous. But I think the lack of conditioning and consistency is what probably plagued him. But as far as a person, I mean, he said a lot about me. He said a lot about me, man. But you know, a lot of people have said a lot about me. So, you know, good, bad, or ugly. Don't wish any harm on anybody. But yeah, that's what I got to say about that. Here's a good question. James Morgan says, hey, Chan, what is your current diet plan staple at the moment, and how often do you include cheat meals when not in prep, still want to stay in shape? For me, right now, I can eat a cheat every other day. That's just being honest. What that cheat consists of, that is usually just like one small meal of something. That could be a burger and fries, or I love burgers. So it's like I can have a cheeseburger and a baked potato. Usually that's what it is. I had sushi yesterday. To me, that would be considered some type of a cheat meal. A lot of people categorize cheat meals as various things, you know, like it has to be pizza or something like that. I normally don't eat pizza, but my current diet plan is just making sure I'm getting enough food throughout the day. So, you know, I'm doing at least 4 to 5 meals a day and a couple shakes. So usually around 6 if I include shakes, right? Shakes don't consist of anything other than just whey protein isolate. And the remaining meals, I'm doing in between 50 and 60 grams of protein and 30 to 40 grams of carbs. So that's usually around the area that I'm trying to stick with. Some meals may differ just because of where I'm at throughout the day, whether I'm taking multiple calls or having to run an errand. I just try to keep that in check. And sometimes I'll make up for a meal by having a larger meal later. It just depends. But of course, the bigger thing is cardiovascular work. I'm doing that 4 days a week. That's always been important. And I'm starting to incorporate a second pseudo session, like after I'm training, more like a cool down of like 10 to 15 minutes. Because I've never done that in my career, but I'm just trying to make sure, you know, I'm being as healthy as I can. One other question was, this guy says, your experience with synthol. I've never done it in my life. Hand on a stack of Bibles. I would never do that. I think it's very stupid for people to do those things. And there's a lot of stupid people in this industry, unfortunately, that feel like they have to do it. Will you ever go vegan? I have. I actually did that after multiple Olympias. So like after an Olympia, you know, I would clean my body out by going vegan for like a month or two, and then kind of slowly reestablishing more meat back in my diet. One guy says, and I'm just gonna have to answer your question, Raul, because you won't leave it alone. why bodybuilding level competition is low now compared to 90s, early to 20s? I don't think the level of competition is low compared to the 90s. I think the level is high. You're just not seeing the same type of people, if that makes sense. So you're not. So for instance, the conditioning that we're seeing now, they didn't really have on a consistent basis back then, because it wasn't judged that way. But I would definitely say like the era that I was in, like primarily, like I turned pro at 2005. There's no way in hell I'm going to let anyone say that the people who I competed against were scrubs compared to the 90s crew. You know, now were they aesthetically pleasing? Absolutely. But did they come in rock hard nails time and time again? No, they did not. And I think they'll even admit that. Like when we're talking about very, very crisp physiques, like each and every show, they would get out conditioned by some guys today, but their shape would probably carry them. And I think it's a great debate. I just know that I would have beaten a lot of them, if not all of them. and I stand on that because of the fact that I was able to have that same shape that they were known for, but also carrying fewer weaknesses and making sure I was very well conditioned. And, you know, guys like me, Dexter Jackson, you know, we would have given a lot of those guys hell because it's just the consistency. And judges look for that. They look for consistency. They don't want to say, okay, well, what's Phil going to look like this show? It's like, no, we kind of know what we're going to get. And the fans know that too. And also they did not have the same type of cameras and lighting that we have today. They didn't have 4K. If 4K would show more lack of definition. So it's very interesting. I think, like I said, I think it's very, very interesting how, the lighting and the videographers are able to, use such great technology and then shows a lot of weaknesses, which is great. It just increases the level of difficulty that these men and women have to endure now as opposed to back then. Because the bodybuilding videos that we see back then are all very grainy because they were actually filmed. And a lot of them were on VHS. They were not on DVD. They definitely weren't on Blu-ray, and they definitely weren't on 4K Blu-ray or 4K disc. I think that answers that. That's what makes great debates, though. The same thing happens in every sport. I think any bodybuilder, or, they have to look at it as, if you're LeBron James, you want to be so good that you are mentioned in the same category as every era. And I looked at myself the same way. Like, I want to be sure that my legacy will stand up against any era. And I think that should be the goal of every current competitor to this day. One question, this guy says, I believe that's Korean. He says, this question may be hard for you to answer. Which year was the best version of yourself? We want to hear your opinion. I think 2013, 2016 was the best. I think those two are definitely the best. A lot of people argue and say 2011. I would actually encourage you guys to look at 2010. 2010 Olympia, even though I didn't win, was one of my best versions. So when you get a chance, look at that physique, look at the routine that I did, and maybe come back on here next week and let me know your thoughts. Because I think that was a very underrated year. 2010 was a great year for me. I placed second at the Arnold and the Olympia the same year. Do you train your calves consistently? No, I don't. And I need to. I'm going to, actually, as a matter of fact, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that this week. And I'm going to keep going. I'll probably journal it, let you know how it goes. Opinion on Greg Doucette, and would you do a podcast with him? Jay did one this month. I don't know who Greg is. I've heard the name. I haven't met him. If I have, I apologize. But yeah, I'm not too sure. I don't want to get into the habit of going on everybody else's channel without actually having some type of interaction with them prior. Because I'll be honest, I don't know what their real goal is, if there's a hidden agenda, stuff like that. Obviously, I'm not afraid to answer any question. I just want to have some level of comfort knowing that I can fully be myself with them, and we can have a good vibe, good energy. So maybe I'll take a look at some of his interviews and whatnot and see if there's some possible alignment there. Do you think you can beat 2013 if you compete again? Actually, what's funny? If I were to do it, I would have to be a combination. So here's how 2013 came about. Hani and I got together and we're like, look, for 2013, we have to make sure that we're taking 2011 and 2012, doing the Super Saiyan stuff, and then like merging them together, right? To do the fusion. And then I think the only way I would ever truly come back is if I could do the same thing, but with 2013 and 2016. If I could do 2013 and 2016, then it would make perfect sense. If I can't do that, then I don't owe it to myself, and if I don't owe it to myself, then I definitely don't believe I should step up there just for the hell of it. I think if I can't take 2013 and 16 and merge them together, because that would provide the fans something that they've never seen from anyone before. Because I think you merge those two together, there's nothing on this freaking earth that could beat that. Nothing, no one, ever. I already think 2013 would stack up against anybody, but you take 2013, you take 2016, and you fuse that together with the maturity of 16 and then the roundness and fullness of 13, and just, oh. And there was no hernia at the time in 13. There was in 16, but you eliminate that, oof, That's tough. You got me thinking now. Gosh, we're already 40 minutes in. Thanks, guys, for all of your questions. I'm going to answer some of these other ones. It says, are diuretics always necessary for water manipulation? The answer is no, and here's why. I believe that if you actually diet well enough and you actually create that balance, you're going to excrete water like crazy. If you reduce a lot of fat, and you've done it over a course of years of just getting that muscle maturity and stuff, you definitely don't need to take diuretics as much as you may believe. Believe it or not, I've not had to do them as much as probably people believe. My first competition as a pro, I definitely did because I didn't have the size or anything like that. But as I started gaining more, or more size, I realized that I shouldn't have to do that, because here's a tip. Ask yourself this: what are diuretics used for in the general public? If you're just a regular person, never competed a day in your life, why would they give you diuretics? Because it's for high blood pressure. So you have high blood pressure medication and you're trying to use it for a bodybuilding competition to do what? Oh, you want to excrete water. Okay, so you do that. So you're taking high blood pressure meds to just get rid of water. What do you think that's going to do if you overdo it? It's going to lower your blood pressure. And that's why, ding, 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 write this down. I'm giving you this for free. It'll lower your blood pressure so much that you don't get a pump. And everybody says, oh, I didn't get a pump. And then what do you think they do next? They overcarb. And then they spill and they look like shit. And that's why I'd rather not do it. Who dodges a question like the Matrix? I want you to come back and say something to me right now. What question am I dodging? I haven't dodged any questions. One guy says, where's my glasses? At the beginning of the podcast, I'm not going to say the word podcast. At the beginning of this live, I actually put them on. I'll put them on at the end. Have you never had Hani as your trainer? Who would I have chosen? Okay, so you're going to love this. His name is Caps. If you never had Hani Ramba as your trainer, who would you have chosen? So before I even knew about Hani, I mean, I knew about him, but I didn't like meet him. I wanted to go toward the champion who was training, the trainer who was training the champion at the time, and that was Ronnie Coleman. And who did he work with? Chad Nichols. So right around the time in 2005, I was getting a lot of buzz around the bodybuilding world because there was this guy from Colorado that has some pictures floating around the internet that was going to be competing at the NPC Junior Nationals. Now, I had already done a photo shoot. Imagine that. I was already doing a photo shoot with Chris Lund. Shout out to Chris Lund out in the UK. You're the man. Anyone that's seen Old Flex magazine articles, that was the guy that was filming all those amazing pictures. So, and he was filming them at Milo Sarchev's gym in Fullerton, California. So I was flown out there to go do a photo shoot 3 weeks out before the Junior Nationals. And he thought that I was getting ready for the Toronto Pro, which was a great compliment. But I turned pro by myself. I didn't have a coach. So after I right before I did the juniors, I was getting hit up by Muscular Development and Weider magazine to sign with them. And Steve Blackman was like, hey, I think you should work with Chad Nichols. And I said, okay. So he gave me his number. I actually called Chad the week of the Junior Nationals. I'm sitting in my hotel room in Chicago, Illinois, at the Rosemont Hotel. Rosemont. It was was it a Marriott, Renaissance? I can't remember. But 17 years ago. And I called, left a message. He never hit me back. I was going to work with him. Could you imagine if he'd have picked up the phone? I more than likely would have worked with him. So that didn't happen. And hey, it all worked out. It all worked out. Oh, man. Oh, here's a good question from Sculpt Warriors. Did you know that you would be off at 2020? No, that's what was so effing frustrating. It's so frustrating, man. No, I did not know. About 2.5 weeks out, I knew that I had a problem because I ended up doing it, and here we are talking about diuretics. Ended up taking a diuretic that I never did it before, and I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have done it at all. Should not have done it. I truly believe if I wouldn't have done that so far out, just as a test, I would have looked even better. Because the minute I did that, it just peeled away at my electrolyte balance, and it was very difficult to get that back. I was very watery getting ready for the show, and it was a disaster. It was very hard to see, to be quite honest, because that wasn't my best. I mean, if I show pictures of what I looked like 2.5, 3 weeks out, yeah, make it as an athlete, make you cry, because you're just like, man. And that's one of those things where I can take a mess and create a great message, is that sometimes when you're, unsure of things and you just try something, instead of being 5% better, you can be 20% worse. And that's what happened to me. And totally, that's what caused me to lose. Even with my hernia situation and all that shit, I still felt like, and I still, not just felt like, I still looked like I could, it should have been a cakewalk. It should have just been a cakewalk. And knowing that doesn't take away anything from Rami, Brandon, whoever, but at the end of the day, I'm me. And when I'm even 90% at myself, at my best, I've beaten these guys. So that's what really hurt. But, you can't go back in time and change it, nor would I, because I needed to learn that lesson. So, have you ever made a snack working on a budget for mass? Yeah, just put freaking ice cream in your whey protein. And there you have a weight gainer. What do I think about Nick Walker? He's very young, has a lot of attention from a lot of different people. I definitely feel like he has, he's an Arnold Classic champion. He did well there. I definitely feel like time is on his side as long as he takes his time. If he takes his time, time will be on his side. But if he tries to go fast, it won't work. And I don't know necessarily who he has in his ear, but when you have so many people in your ear, it doesn't always work. And as you can see, like for myself, I kept very secluded, for that reason, because I had a lot of people trying to tell me stuff. And those same people had never, ever competed at the same level. So, Nick has, some great tools, but he has to understand that this time right now is not only going to dictate whether or not he becomes the champion that he believes he can be, but most importantly, for how long and how much more can you improve from that? Because again, I love Ferraris. And when they first started, making them, the first one, I believe, did 0 to 60 in 8 seconds. Now we have one that does it under 3. So, you have to be able to improve based on your best, and for how long can you do that without hurting yourself is the biggest thing. Future plans for competing. I'll be on stage at some point. Don't know where. Don't know how. I'll be on a stage. Why bodybuilder pay less compared to other sports? Well, primarily because of media. When you have tons of media coverage, when you look at sports organizations, you have to look at not just the sponsors, right? But you have to look at the media. So if it's very valuable, someone will want to put it on TV networks. So it's the networking deals that actually create more value for the federation itself. Take UFC, for example, great organization, right? But when they did the deal with Disney, or should I say ESPN, which is all owned by the same conglomerate, their numbers went up. If you look at right now, watching NCAA March Madness, you're telling me that the sponsors of that, or the television networks that are part of that, didn't pay billions of dollars to host that? You're out of your mind. So like that money How do movies make money? By getting with the right networks that will put money into it. So it's all about media. And if the Olympia or the Arnold or bodybuilding shows created more interest, then maybe a network would actually pick it up. Say, hey, bring your Olympia channel. It'd be no different if I'm like, let's say Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan starts on YouTube. Next thing you know, goes to, Spotify, gets paid millions of dollars, hundreds of $1,000,000, $200 million or whatever, because that network needed his channel. So if the federation itself develops from within more value, a network would have no choice but to want to purchase them. It doesn't even, and a lot of people will say, oh, it's because of PEDs and this, and that, and the other. I bet you one thing, because of what we've seen networks like little platforms like Triller actually host celebrity boxing that makes more money than some of our content, every contest we have, right? So it's all about the fact that if we present more value as a community, and if the powers that be create that value to be sold, and if they want it to be sold, it can be sold. And then everybody wins. Because if it's on, imagine if it's really on television and the organizers are making a ton of money. They're getting so many more eyeballs that like maybe some athletes would actually get eyeballs from certain corporations. Imagine if the people who put on the events actually have sponsors. Like I co-promote an event next weekend, the Heath Classic in Bryan, Texas, right? So imagine us having, our event be 5 times the amount. Well, next thing you know, we're going to have more sponsors. So then what happens when I have more sponsors? More competitors come to my event because they're going to be seen on a bigger stage, and they can guarantee that, hey, if I win, maybe Phil or someone can introduce me to one of these vendors, one of these sponsors of his. Absolutely. And that's usually how it can work, where the athletes can win too. But I do feel that the promoters win, but the athletes normally don't. And maybe it's because of the fact that they just haven't had that conversation, or just the fact that they're like, well, maybe we make money no matter what. Like, it doesn't matter. But the athlete, how does the athlete benefit? And I think that's where I truly believe the conversation needs to be enhanced. The word enhanced. Phil, do you think you should have won the Olympia in 2008? I think that you should have beat Jay Cutler that year. Actually, I do feel like I should have won 2008. Yeah, I think so too. No shot against Dexter. I love the guy, but I think I gave him hell in 2008. He's gonna think that he beat me at some shows too. But I think I definitely feel like I could have had a compelling argument for that event. And I did get first place votes on Saturday, if you look at the score sheets. But like I said, it all worked out. It all worked out. Because in the end, I got more than all of them, except Ronnie and Lee Haney. Jimmy Gamble says, Honey is the best coach out there. Absolutely. He worked with pretty badass people, though. I mean, come on, worked with me, and then next thing you know, I recommended Jay to him, and, that happened, fucked me over. Like, no, I'm just playing. When I say fuck me over, like, I didn't win the Olympia because I told Jay to go work with Honey, get his title back. But nah, it's cool, man. No, Honey's the GOAT. For trainers, he's the GOAT, man. Jamshed Khan says, can you answer this? I want to get wide and I work out, but I have small collarbone. You just have to train more, man. You need to round out those shoulders, get wider delts. If you can gain more muscle around those areas, look, when people talk about the structure and everything, like, yeah, some people have wide structure, but they don't have the roundness with that, right? It just looks wide. They look humongous with a shirt on. You see these guys, they walk around like, all swollen and shit. But then they take it off, they don't have the roundness. Focus on the roundness. If you have, and the whole narrow clavicle structure, it can't be narrow. It's like, it's short or long. Like a clavicle goes short or long. That's it, right? So what I did was focusing more on, pull down movements and, a lot of pull-ups, a lot of pull-downs, variation of grips, not always wide, sometimes narrow, sometimes palm facing, and making sure I'm getting the contraction. When it comes to delts, I was training them twice a week just to make sure I had that roundness, that 3D look. And I think if you do that, you focus more on that. Even if you were this so-called narrow, you would be like sculpted like crazy. You would be round. But eventually your body's going to expand because it needs to support those lats that sweep all the way down to the hip. So I think you need to focus on those things. It definitely takes time. It's not something that's just going to happen. You have to work hard about it, and you have to be smart about it. JB says, what are you on now for HRT? So right now I'm on 2 cc's of testosterone and anthate. I switched it up from cypionate. I wanted something a little bit different. I was on SIP for 2 months, and I was like, you know what? I talked to the guys over at Transcend. I asked, hey, do the doctors be able to prescribe me a different type of testosterone? They said, yeah. I did my blood work, this and that. They approved it. They said, okay, let's get you on a couple cc's of that per week. So I've been doing that. And it's just been on the peptides of tesamorelin, ipamorelin, which I do every night. I do a cc of that peptide that helps aid not just with sleep, but also it's like human growth hormone without all the side effects. It's as simply put as that. And then in the morning, I do my BPC-157 and thymosin beta-4. I put them all in one syringe, and I actually hit that around the areas where I need the less inflammation and more, well, for me, more connective tissue because, I had that surgery. I had 2 surgeries. So that's usually what I'm doing every day around the area, if not one of my knees. And then there's a couple other ones. Well, outside of that, I'm just doing MK77 and what else? Oh, I'm doing dihexa, which is more of a nootropic. I call it the limitless pill. You can think, talk like crazy, like what I'm doing right now. You can retain more information than ever before. But as far as like the testosterone therapy, I'm just doing 400 milligrams of test a week. And to be quite honest, I mean, it's actually been working. But in conjunction, I'm not going to say that's all I'm doing. I'm taking all the other stuff. And I'll be able to post more about that on my stories. But if you have any other questions and want to get more details about that, just go on my link tree on my Instagram and click the Transcend HRT link, and then you can fill out a patient intake form. And it costs no money for you to do it. Just take that. They can, maybe schedule some blood work for you. And it's actually very inexpensive, much more inexpensive than you would get probably through your insurance. And then they'll give you some options as to what you're looking for. Have you ever bought gear from Underground Labs? Hell no. I think that's just stupid. Anytime when people want to buy steroids and from some, some underground place, like think about what you're saying. You're buying it from an underground source and you want to inject that into your body. Okay. Okay. So what if something goes wrong? What if something goes wrong? What if they made a mistake? You just put that in your body. And for what? And what's your why with that? Are you on an Olympia stage? Probably not. Why are you doing it? For Instagram? Why? Probably don't even eat right. Probably don't train right. This and that and the other. I think a lot of these people that want to get on PEDs, testosterone and everything else, they just see videos and they think, okay, well, I can go ahead and look like that. And it's like, for some people, yes. But you'd be surprised how many people abuse compared to the people that actually compete. Because we're chasing that and they're chasing Instagram. So the people are probably willing to go do anything just to go get that extra YouTube or whatnot. And once you start seeing a certain level of people doing the same thing, they get the same result. But then there's other people that maybe have a little bit better genetics, but more importantly, have more hard work and understanding of how things work. They actually supersede them every time. So my suggestion to you is don't do underground lab stuff. That's very, very ignorant. Go do it the right way. And if you say, oh, that costs too much and this and that, it's like, oh, so you put a dollar sign on your health. Got it. Good luck to you then. And then 10 years from now, when something bad's going on, you're like, why is my liver and my kidney enzymes are like this? Because you were taking underground lab stuff. And for what? Did you win anything? Did you earn anything? Even if you earn money, is that really worth years off your life? Probably not, man. So I'm not getting on you. I'm just saying this because there's going to be someone that's going to see this or hear this, share this, and it may help somebody. So that's why I got with Transcend, because I wanted to educate people, on what not to do and how you can be helped in various different ways. We're approaching 1 hour. So I'm going to stop. Normally I keep saying like, oh, I'm only going to go for a little bit, and then I go for like an hour and a half. Today I can't do that because I definitely have some places I got to be. In future, will you be my personal trainer and help me beat your Olympia record? Well, you would have to get in line, sir, because I get that DM a lot. But, I'm definitely going to have, myself be on a fitness app here pretty soon where it's not going to cost a whole lot of money. It's probably going to cost less than $20 a month, where you're going to get actual workouts and diet and training tips and all that good stuff. But then you're actually going to be able to later have me as that person who could walk through your entire prep. And I definitely feel like that would be, something of value. But we'll start off with just you seeing, the workouts that I would be able to provide that would get you where you want to go, give you some good, tips. And these are things that you may have heard me say, or someone else took them and used them for themselves. So all of the knowledge that is out there is usually shared knowledge of some sort. It's just how it's been applied and how the proof has been in their performance. But I'll be able to describe it very, very well. And it'll be in a great format. I can't wait to share it with you. But when it comes to actual one-on-one, those things, I'll be honest, those things are available or will be available, but they will come at a different price. And I just have to be honest with that because I've done that in the past, and the people who have received that help have paid me handsomely for it, and their performance has improved as well. So I'm going to make that available to all walks of life, whether you're a person that is a corporate athlete that hey, they got the 8 to 5, they're working 40 to 60 hours a week, and they're just trying to get a certain goal, whereas you got the person that's just focusing more on their physique because maybe they're working for a fitness company, or they're trying to enhance like their YouTube or IG presence. They want to look the part, they want to get more sponsorships. And then they'll have like another section where you're hardcore bodybuilding, wanting to become Mr. Olympia. Do I like Persian food? Absolutely. Hormeh sabzi and all of that. This guy says SARMs or steroids. Your SARMs are no thank you. No thank you. No thanks. Not compared to no. And primarily because it's I just say it, I mean, just more data. Just more data. This guy says plump. Ugh, I'm not even gonna read. Yeah. No, I'm not gonna read that. That's weird. It's a weirdo. Who has better muscle bellies? You, Dexter, Kevin Laverne, or Flex Wheeler? It's a good one. I'd say myself. And I'll tell you why, because every body part, when I've been at my peak was just like so 3D and even like etched out at the same time. So, we're all 3D. All four of us are. Of course, I'm going to pick myself. I'm not going to lie. Okay, guys, I'm going to hop off of here. But before I go, just for a couple guys, because they were wondering about my Ray-Bans here. So let me make sure I see you guys loud and clear. Okay. So definitely want to say thank you for coming on here onto this live. We're approaching 64 minutes strong on a Saturday morning here in beautiful sunny Florida. And I just want to continue to thank you guys for your ongoing support. I truly do love you guys. And, I really think it's really neat that this community is growing. And I really encourage you guys all to have a great, healthy, and safe weekend. If you're going to go out and party and do those things, do not drink and drive. Please don't do it. Please don't do it. And for all those people that ask if I'm going to compete again, you'll just have to wait and see. I've mentioned it time and time again that that's not in my peripheral right now. There's a lot of other cool things that I have going on, such as my documentary that's going to be coming out this year called Breaking Olympia. And that is it was directed by Brett Harvey of Scorgi Productions. And Adam Scorgi with his company, Scorchy Productions, in addition to co-production of 7 Bucks Productions with Danny Garcia. That's right, Danny Garcia and The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. So what an amazing team. We've been able to put out some really good content, and I really feel that this is going to be something that would rival Pumping Iron. I'm just going to put it out there in the universe that this is going to be something that you guys are going to enjoy. But most importantly, you're going to see me at my most vulnerable state that I've ever been in my entire life on camera. So I'm very, very happy, very, very thankful for all those who have been patiently waiting, but also the creators of this project and the people who are going to champion this onto the big screen. We've been talking to various different networks, and we're just very, very thankful that this is starting to proliferate into something special. And I cannot wait to release the first trailer once that gets done. But with all that said, I will sign off. Good luck to everybody that's getting ready for competitions. The bodybuilding season is already upon us. For people that are still dieting, keep training hard, training smart, of course, having fun. I've said that a million times. And of course, keep your prayers and belief high, for not just for yourself, for those people around you. And always remember that you can be the light for others to make sure that they can go out and get their success too. So when you meet someone, greet them with a smile, and just be thankful, man. Just be thankful for what you have. And even if it ain't a whole lot, you still have life. You can still always do this, because sometimes just taking that deep breath and feeling that heartbeat, you're like, you should be thankful for that. So that means that you can get up just like I'm about to right now and go kick some major ass. So again, shout out to all of you from all over the world. Much love to you. Please subscribe, set those notifications on, and share this with all your friends, because I would love to be able to answer their questions too. All right, so much love, God bless, and we'll see you hopefully next week. I'm going to probably do this again right when I leave, so next week I have travel where I'm going to be going to I'm going to be flying into Houston. I'm going to be making a drive all the way down to Bryan, Texas for the Heath Classic. So I'm going to be going Instagram Live, but also YouTube Live. I'm going to do a YouTube Live probably either that Friday evening or Saturday early morning. So be sure to, like I said, set those notifications so you'll know exactly the time. All right. So again, have a great weekend. Enjoy yourself. Don't drink and drive. Don't do anything stupid. Get some muscles. Don't fight anybody. Don't do anything reckless, unless if you're beating the hell out of some weights. All right.